Recording.
It's been a heck of a ride today.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah, listeners, those of you that don't know, we're recording multiple episodes in one day, and
I was going to try and bamboozle him and wear another shirt or something like that.
we talked about that actually,
yeah,
changing shirts, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Just turn it inside out. Nobody will know.
There you go.
Lack of planning.
Yeah.
We
I think
should
it's
wear
lack of commitment, actually, because I thought of it. I planned for it, and then I was just like,
we should wear like 5 shirts in every episode. Just take one
one
more
off.
There you go.
off, and
during the episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Kind of like a magic show.
Yes, exactly. And they're just like, what the heck? Like, there's like somebody takes a breath.
Yeah.
Stop.
New one.
New one. Start again.
So that being said,
We're not doing that. Just FYI.
Welcome to 7 Points, a podcast produced by the Arizona Department of Public Safety, where we talk to different individuals who make our department so great. Whether a state trooper or civilian support staff, every employee has a unique story and path they took to get here. 7 Points asks guests 7 specific questions to give listeners insight into what it means to work here and to be a part of the law enforcement family.
welcome back to another episode of 7 Points. I think this will actually be our second official episode behind our bonus host episode.
Yeah.
Because we have a trooper here who, this is Highway Patrol. This is the bread and butter of DPS. Now, we have lots of aspects of this agency, but Trooper Sean Harkins here is representing the Metro Patrol Bureau trooper. Now, we have troopers in Southern Bureau and Northern Bureau, very different environments, and we are going to talk to them too. But Sean here is here to represent Metro Patrol Bureau specifically.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure at all.
Just on you.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
So the opening questions that we always have for everybody, those as I call the dating profile. How long has Trooper Harkins been here? For just short of 12 years. His favorite food is another theme for these recordings: a good medium rare steak.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
There you
No
go.
other way.
There you
Oh,
go.
absolutely not. No.
But do you have a preference on which, vendor? Is this just, any medium rare steak?
No. It was a good medium rare steak.
Okay, well,
if it's
all right.
good,
So what's
if
good
it's-
then?
anything.
Like, are
if
you
it's
Texas
good,
Roadhouse
yeah,
guy?
I'll go Texas
Oh, I
Roadhouse,
do
Black
love a good-
Angus. I mean, it's,
But, we talking ribeye? Are we talking sirloin? What
Or
are
you
we
might
talking?
make your own.
no, I'm definitely not that good.
No?
At it.
Okay.
Okay. No, because I want it good. So no. Yeah, I know. I'm a ribeye or a T-bone guy.
Oof.
Yeah.
See, I prefer New York strip. Sometimes the ribeyes are just a little too fatty for me. I don't know.
All right.
I like the New
Coming
York
from the
strip.
skinny guy.
I was just gonna say this is why though. See,
Yeah.
I need a grizzle on my steak.
Yeah, I'm eating the fat.
Yes. Yeah. It's the best part.
That's where the flavor is.
Oh,
My guy.
Yeah, 7 points, 7 steaks.
Yeah, exactly.
that's what we should have done. Is
Oh,
seven steaks.
And then we could have eaten steaks, and then we could have had the department pay for it.
Yeah, oh, man, we
All right, I'm
failed.
coming back for that episode.
Yeah, we
I'm just
stink
saying.
at this.
We're gonna change this. Yeah. Favorite movie: Serendipity. Now, I don't.
Now
is
that's
that
interesting.
Is that John Cusack?
It is.
Okay.
It's John Cusack,
Who else is in that movie?
Kate Beckinsale,
Oh, boy.
and
fan.
then what's his name? Jeremy Piven.
Piven. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't even know I've
I
seen that
don't
movie.
know if I've
actually.
ever seen
If
it.
you ask my wife and my oldest daughter, that's my favorite movie. If you ask my youngest daughter, it's like Deadpool. Yeah, I've just always loved that movie. I don't know why.
Interesting.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's fair.
It's been my go-to.
I love it.
Favorite sport to watch: softball.
I know why.
And then, I would
Do you
say
know?
Kids.
Yep. Well, wait a minute. Hang on. My kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, let's not be
Yeah,
creepy.
easy.
Right.
Easy.
My
Yes.
specific child, yes.
My one daughter, yes.
Oh. And then your favorite thing to do in your off time, free time: watch your daughter play softball.
There you go.
Or
That's my
work on
silly
your
free
Jeep
time.
with your daughter.
Yep.
What kind of
Because,
Jeep?
well, it's a Jeep, so you got to work on it.
Constantly.
Especially
All
when
the
they're
time.
old like mine is.
Yes.
Yeah. You get no free time from that.
Yeah, what do you got?
We got
TJ?
a-
a
no,
CJ?
we got a 96 ZJ.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, I bought it as a. It was supposed to be my my hobby outside of work.
Yes.
And then it turned into my kid wants it, so now we got to keep it running so
Yes.
she can have it. So
So I had a 97, so TJ.
Mm-hmm.
Loved it, still love it, even though it's gone. And I had to sell it for reasons that I won't cry about right now.
you should though.
Later.
So getting into this, Sean, welcome again. 7 points. We ask our guests 7 questions. Everybody gets the same questions. We found through our beginning episodes, pretty much everybody kind of starts to answer them through.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Let us ask the questions.
yes,
No,
okay.
no, you're good.
No, it's fine.
See, yes, no answers. I'll make it easy.
Right.
See? Here we go.
But yeah, we want to learn about you and your experience here at DPS. We want to learn, about you even before DPS, but we also want to share information to those who may be looking to come to the department and just law enforcement in general too. Why DPS is a great place to work, what you have enjoyed about your time here, all those kind of aspects. So that's what we're getting at here. So diving right in, what did you do before DPS? Where did you grow up? What were some of your jobs you had before being a state trooper?
So I actually started. So first, I worked for Capitol Police.
Oh,
I was
okay.
actually a police assistant, and that was before DPS was over the Capitol. Left there for reasons I won't cry about. Left there, and then started driving truck. So I drove a truck for Pulte Homes, delivering lumber from the yard to the job sites, and then went and not sold boats, hauled boats. So I did that, and then being a cop just always stuck around. One day, all of a sudden, I was told by some family members, "Hey, DPS is hiring again." So I logged online, and then 6 months later, I was at the academy.
Wow. So, or what year did you go through the academy?
It was 2012 into 2013.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, what class was that? Do you remember your class number?
What were we? We were 466.
Oh,
yeah,
shoot.
just
So
two
you were
before
2
us.
classes. Yeah, before, we
Yeah.
were 468.
Yeah,
So.
because I went through with Cudler, Stradling, with all
Oh,
those guys.
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I didn't realize that they were in that
Yeah.
class too. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, because you were the start of the 74s. What's your batch number?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
74s.
74s.
Yeah, we were that first actual new class back after they
Yeah.
had the hiring freeze.
Yeah.
So are you in the 20 or the 25 year retirement?
25 year.
25. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we
I
all
know
got
It was
we're
like
that.
really
6
low.
months.
Yeah.
I think they said it was like 6
Yeah.
months before we got on.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's 5 more years. I mean, yeah, it's a lot.
We laugh.
And cry a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Oh, man.
So, or where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in I grew up in Texas until I was 11, 12, and then I've been in Arizona ever since.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we moved here and we went to the East Valley, and then I got older and realized East Valley was too crowded and moved out to the West Valley. So
Which
never
is
looked
not
back.
crowded?
It wasn't back then. It was nothing but just fields.
But
Manure
now
fields,
it's
a prison,
growing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's mushrooming. It's boom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's growing big.
Everything.
Yep.
It's crazy, actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, why did you... So you said that policing always stuck around, but why did you want to be a police officer?
You get to carry a gun and drive fast.
Oh, all right.
I mean, it was very simple when I was
Yes.
young. Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, that was, I think, the initial part when I was younger. So I did Police Explorers when I was I think I was a freshman in high school. I got into it. But I always looked at it as cops are the ones you go to when you need help. Like that's how it used to be. I feel like it still is like that a little
Yeah.
these days. But I always looked up to the cops that I saw.
Right.
I was like I said, it wasn't like I was in small town USA, but I grew up in Gilbert.
Yeah.
So, the cops are on there. We had the resource officer in school. So you always talked to him. You always knew him.
Yeah.
So it was just one of those, that's who you go to when you need help. And I always figured, why not go do that and help people? So
I like it.
So then with that, why not go help people? Fantastic. Why DPS?
being honest, because they're the ones who hired me.
Hey.
Hey, there's no shame
Similar
there.
answer.
It was, so back when I went through, so like I said, there had been a hiring freeze before I got hired here. But prior to that, I mean, when I was trying to get on, you'd go to Peoria, Gilbert, Phoenix PD, and it was, hey, today's testing day 1, and we're going to have 2 or 3 more days of testing, and you're trying to beat out, 1,000 people for 2 spots, 3 spots. So, I wasn't like I was the most physically fit guy out there. So, and beating out all those people, I could just never get on. So I had a family member tell me, like, look, the name of the game is get hired, get on. If you decide DPS isn't for you, go somewhere else. And I got here, and I hate to say it and sound like it's, like I'm reading it, but I just loved it here, so I stayed.
Nice.
So
That's good. Yeah, we talked about that a lot. Is that, like, I went to a test at Tempe. There was literally 1,100 people
Yeah.
standing in line, and I'm like, What is going on? And I'm looking in front of me and behind me. This guy just got out of the Army. He could probably run 4 miles in the time I'm going to run the 1.5 miles. The guy behind me is a Marine. He's like literally doing push-ups. I'm like, hey, this is the written test. He's like, oh yeah, I'm just staying warmed up. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, well, here we are. And here's this pudgy white guy trying to get a job.
Well, and I found it was, so I went to Peoria, Phoenix, Gilbert, a bunch of those, but like ASU, PD, like all of them. But I would see the same guys at the same ones. I'm like, well, if that guy right there isn't getting hired, there's no way I'm beating him. It's just, there were so many guys that were
It
the
was
same
a
tests.
wild time to try it. And we all got hired in that same time period.
Yeah.
So count us lucky.
Oh, yeah.
We made the cut.
Right? We made the cut. So interesting. So talk about your progression through DPS. So you get hired at DPS, some of your assignments, and then where you're at now.
So I started in a rural area. So I started up in Valley, up near the Grand Canyon. I did, 2.5 years up there. Highway Patrol, stayed there. And then my wife said, if you want to stay together and see your family every day, we're going back to Phoenix. So I said, okay, yes, ma'am. So we came back down here and sometime in 2015, and I've been here ever since. I went and did, I was on swings here in Central. Did that for about 6 months, maybe a year.
Because you're on the 550s?
No, now I'm on the 510s. Yeah.
I
was, yeah.
On swings, the 550s,
Yeah, back
right?
then it was
the
the Charles 220s.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so I did that for 6 months, maybe a year, and it was right before they kind of shut down moving people around. And I put in a card, made it over to days, and I've been here, I think I've been on days on the 510s for 8 years now. So, and then other than that, I mean, I did a small stint of backgrounds. So they did a small TDY to do background investigations, and then I was on that, and then I got injured, so I did light duty there. Then they extended me, so I did 9 months there. And then other than that, it's been all Highway Patrol, except for my TDY. Yep.
Yeah.
My TDY over at TMU. I did that for a short stint.
Which that's a blast.
It was.
TMU. Who was the sergeant over there when you were at TMU?
Norland.
Oh, yeah. Good old Norland.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, so I was only there for 6 months, and then they sent me back to the road.
Yeah.
So talk to us about being on the road, being a highway patrol trooper. We can talk about it all day, but that's why we have guests come on is talk about stuff. And, we've talked to, I know this is all out of order, but we're talking to other people from specialty units because a lot of people don't know about our specialty units. But like I said at the beginning, Highway Patrol is the heart and soul of this agency. They are the bread and butter. The majority of our staff, especially our sworn staff, works in Highway Patrol. So talk about your experiences there, what you do, what's your day like. Just speak into that.
I mean, it kind of depends. I mean, anybody who's done it or still doing it, I mean, it can vary. A rural trooper is going to have a different day than Metro, obviously. There are days, weekends, obviously, not as many wrecks. You go out, it's playtime. Go make traffic stops, go enforce speed if you want to, go, to the not so nice parts of Phoenix and make some stops and look for warrants or drugs or anything like that. But a normal day, it's, go out and handle wrecks first and foremost during rush hour. I mean, that's I think today it was wreck after wreck after wreck after wreck.
One of those days.
Yeah, it was just, yeah. So, I mean, it just kind of depends on how many people are on, After that, it's grab lunch, and then, again, it's free time. Go make traffic stops. If you want to look for warrants, look for warrants. If you want to go do truck inspections because you're a truck inspector as well, go do that. If you.
Now, you being a former truck driver, do you enjoy doing the inspections, or do you stay away from them?
Oh, no, I do them, yeah.
No?
I do them, yeah. Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah.
It's really simple when you know how something is supposed to work and you've done it and someone tries to lie about it to you. It's kind of like, okay. I remember how a false logbook looks. Okay.
Right?
Not that I ever did it. I just heard about them.
But you knew someone.
Exactly. There was someone somewhere. He may have showed me a picture.
Right. Exactly. That's awesome. So, Highway Patrol's where you spent most of your time. What's your favorite part about DPS?
My favorite part, again, I don't want it to sound like I'm just saying it. I think it's the guys that I work with. And it doesn't not even just my squad, but just the guys in general, the gals in general, whatever you want to call it, the troopers. I think that no matter if it's, a day shift squad, swing squad, brave squad, what you bump into, I hate to say it, it's a family. But it's, you just know them. You know what I mean? You see them off duty. You're like, oh, I know you. You might not remember where you know them from or how you know their name because you don't work with them all the time.
Yeah.
But it is. But I check on and I go, oh, okay, cool. They're working. Okay. All right. They're working there. But it's like any other thing, It's,
No, absolutely.
But I think that's honestly I think that's my favorite part because there are times I'll take vacation a lot for softball and like a week into it, I'm like, I just want to go to work. Like, I just want to go back. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't joked around with this guy in how long. I want to go back and see what he's doing. Like,
Yeah,
so
because I was talking to Eric and Sherrod earlier about the camaraderie since they were in the same class. Is the same for you with people you were in the class with?
yeah, I mean, it might not be as close. I mean, but yeah, there's, I mean, obviously today, in this day and age with social media, you can keep in touch with them.
Yeah.
But I mean, we got guys that have promoted, we've got guys that have left, we've got guys that have just transferred somewhere else.
Yeah.
But yeah, whenever I see them, it's always like a nice little reunion. So
Well, and it's crazy the ways that you create these friendships. I mean, I've because we do all sorts of things like meeting somebody at the state fair, and all of a sudden you're partners with this guy for 2 weeks at the state fair, and then now I know Sean and every time I see him, I'm like, hey, and I'm on the road and I'm sending him messages talking crap about how he's a day shift trooper now and how that's silly and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Meanwhile, he's trying to clear a wreck as I'm driving by.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'd love to help. No vest. Sorry. Yeah.
I got past it.
God.
Famous last words. No, but it is something, I reference this guy a lot, and if he's going to listen to these, I don't know, but he'll probably know. And he told me a long time ago, he's the guy blamed for getting me into this career, he would say, he's like, honestly, policing's the biggest fraternity in the world. He's like, and no matter where you go, you're going to meet a police officer, and basically you're going to know how that guy operates, and he's going to know how you operate at some level. And it's even more so inside of DPS, I feel like, because we've discussed this before, we are different than all the other agencies in a lot of ways. And some, you can say are good or bad, but we know what that's like because we've worn the tan uniform. We've put that straw cap on our forehead and had
Gotten the
it
same headache
engraved
from it.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? We've all experienced that.
No headaches.
So, but that's important too. And it's like, yeah, I go on vacation and to get away from it all. But at the same time, it's like going back's not that bad because you know who you're with. So
Yep.
I like that.
Yep. I will say once you're away from it for 6 months. Yeah. When you're away
Yeah.
from it for that long, like I can't even imagine. I've had my little peek into like what retired guys go through, and 6 months away, a month in, and you're just like, no,
Yeah.
like I'm bored.
Yeah.
What's everybody doing? They're busy. They must be working.
Yeah.
You're
It's-
climbing the walls. Huh?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just it's one of those you're just like, okay, I really really miss it. So.
Yeah. Well, and it's especially the road highway patrol, especially day shift. I did, a year in day shift highway patrol, and it's very easy to view it as mundane and just the same thing in and out, same thing in and out. But to your point, as soon as you leave it for a little while, you're like, I mean, it's something.
Yeah.
And every collision is different. Every traffic stop is different. I mean, you know that. I know that for various different reasons. But so you almost have to, it's a challenge to keep yourself ready for anything.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
And when you don't have that, man, what the heck am I doing here? So, yeah. So tell me this, Sean. What is your dream job at DPS?
Right here where I am.
Besides right where you are, where would you go if you could just pick a spot and just know you could go there and that you're going to be good at it and love it? What would that spot be?
I'd like to say the director spot, but no, I don't want any of that hassle.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't
No,
seem
thank
fun
you.
at all. No, I honestly think that I mean, in no BS, like I never really thought about ever leaving highway patrol. I just the freedom that we have.
Oh, yeah.
To, I mean, one, schedule works great, yeah. We very rarely get called out, but I like the road. I get the freedom to do what I want. I get the freedom to be as proactive as I want to. But I think outside of that, I think making it back over to like TMU or something like that would be that dream spot.
It's a good spot. And TMU, I know I forgot to mention, but that's our threat mitigation unit. So they do a lot of Obviously, especially in this day and age, people calling threats on political figures all the time. They'll look into those, do stuff like that. So, great unit, great people over there. They do a good job. Interesting. Yeah, no, I'm with you on the highway patrol thing. And heck, right before we came in here, we were talking about that. How, man, like Eric and I have done a lot of things outside of highway patrol, and that's all fine and dandy. But man, highway patrol is where it's at.
Yeah,
in reality.
You were saying like it's the bread and butter. I've always I've talked to people and they've asked I remember what it was. Was it? I don't know. They got talking about. I think it was back in the old 28-day review days. I don't remember how it came up, but I was talking and I was telling someone that is the face of the department.
Yeah.
If you talk to somebody, I have family where you're like, well, yeah, CID, and they're like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Nobody knows. A lot of people don't know what DPS is versus. It's just highway patrol. That division is what people see, and I think that it's not to say it's the most important, but it's the most important because I've got the uniform on. So,
there you go.
But it's just it's the face of what people know this department for, unless they have a reason to know it for something different.
Right. Right. So, how do I say this?
I don't know.
I don't know. Curious. You want to write it down?
You've been through some experiences at DPS.
Yes.
I mean, if I may say, you've been involved in a shooting before.
Yes.
And I'm not going to ask you to go into details about that. That's everybody's own preference to share those kind of stuff. But all I'll ask about is, do you think that experience made you a better trooper? Or how did, I guess this is a better way to ask it. Do you think that changed the way, or changed you as a trooper, that experience?
I'd like to say no, but 100% yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I couldn't even begin to tell you how yet. And it's a little over a year past it. Mm-hmm. So I was always the guy that, I'm trying to think, not day dreamt. I went through scenarios in my head. One of my trainers back in the day taught me, and I know a lot of people do it, I hope anyways, but one of my trainers back in the day, he would always tell me, we'd make a traffic stop, and he would, when we were done, he'd ask me, okay, so what would you have done if a car hit the back of our car? Where are you jumping to? Well, how far of a drop is it? And it got me in that mindset of literally every time I make a traffic stop, in my mind I think, okay, if I hear the rumble strips, which way am I jumping? Where is it? Okay, nope, I got to jump this way. Otherwise, if I jump that way, it's straight down, right? Yeah. And even on regular traffic stops, what am I doing if somebody comes out shooting? Where am I going? Where's my cover, right? And like I said, I hope everybody does it, but I think we do get complacent sometimes with it, right? I mean, like we said, every traffic stop's different, but at the same time, every traffic stop's the same. Like it sometimes you just get in that rhythm and you're like, okay, I stopped you for this. And it's nothing happening after nothing happening, and I get it until the day it doesn't, and I think now, I'm just trying to get back to that point of doing those scenarios and thinking about it, you got to learn to, I guess, retrust your spidey sense in a way. It's the only way I can explain it. I've had people ask well, did you have that sense, that spidey sense? Nope. I've had it before, and nothing ever happened. But that day I had no spidey sense go off, and now it's like, okay, do I trust it? Do I not trust it? Is it right? But
okay,
so.
Yeah.
No, that's interesting. Yeah.
I mean, I would say, I hope that. I'm not trying to say this. What's funny about this? Well, it's not funny, but I literally just had my 8-year anniversary of my officer-involved shooting, and it's something that when you say it like that, I think probably somebody out there is going to go like, oh, they celebrate this stuff. Quite the opposite, actually. Yep. The opposite of celebrating is what I do. I think, like you and most everybody that got into this job, it was definitely not to get into this job to be put in a situation where you were going to take somebody's life or your life was potentially going to be taken. That's not why we're here. And I think that those scenarios, I know it refined me mentally. Is that me or? I don't know. But my message to everybody listening, especially young troops out there, is A, be prepared, right? You've got to play out those scenarios and train seriously. I remember, so in my situation, literally months before, we have our regular shoots. We do 4 training shoots a year, basically. And for one of these trainings, we were literally drawing our rifle from our vehicle, exiting a vehicle, and putting rounds on to the target, right? And one of the things that the instructors in that moment said to me was, well, have you ever thought about getting your rifle out while you're still in your car? Like, let's say you're seated. And if you know anything about police cars, it's basic. Well, in the Crown Vic, it was literally right between us, sitting upright. And I thought, oh, no, I'd never thought about that. He's like, I'm not saying, I'm not training you how to do it. I'm just saying food for thought, scenarios, hypotheticals. You run through these. So literally that weekend, I went home and I sat in my driveway and I mastered taking that out the safest way possible without muzzling myself with my rifle, getting it out, getting it unlocked, and bringing it down between my legs basically and having it right here ready to go. Right? Not to get too much into my scenario, but literally, had I not drawn my rifle out and had it ready to go in that moment, I would have not been able to protect myself. Just because of the way in which I was trying to take cover and do everything else, I would not have been able to effectively draw my pistol, and so I had my rifle ready to go. So I focused in on that so much, and I tell people when I got the opportunity to train people, I said, you have to hypothetical these things. And there's things that the department is not going to train you.
Yeah.
The department didn't train me how to do that, right? I had to go train myself. But it was because seed planted, I'm like, maybe I should know how to do that.
Absolutely.
So down to everything. So when we go to training and they're training you how to apply a tourniquet, take that seriously because you never know how that's going to play out. Right. You know what I mean? When you're, they're training you, hey, here's how to utilize your cover the best way. Take that seriously because you don't know when it's going to be that you're going to need that. So I know that's what I took from my experience and, and honestly, thankfully.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and it's funny. I reached out to, so after it was, so I had been involved in another critical incident a year prior to my shooting, and it was up in Yavapai County, and I reached out to Cameron White because at the time he was still, I think he had just left, but he had been, the firearms instructor for a second. And it was funny because it was literally, I don't remember how long it had been before, but I know it wasn't that far before, but we had a day at the range. And it was one of those, you kind of get off topic and how cops and guys are, and you go down a rabbit hole. And he actually had to pull in the reins, and he was basically telling everybody, like, knock it off. Like, this is training. This is so you can go home. This, yes, we have fun, but do A, B, and C. And in that incident, I actually reached out to him. I was like, dude, kudos to you, bro. I was like, I'm not going to lie. I was like, the training that we get, it was, like you said, seed planted, right? Yep. And everything that we did in that event, in that officer down, basically it was an officer down scenario. Yep. And everything I did, it just came. Yep. I was thinking of all the things that we've gone over, all things they talked about, and, and all that. So it definitely sticks with you. And that's why I want to get back to that, trusting that spidey sense and getting those scenarios back playing. So.
And even I think when I've, especially I think it comes out on range days, you see some of these young guys who are all excited. They're getting a decent paycheck. They're buying all this high-speed, low-drag equipment and bring it out to the range. And you're like, dude, just wear your belt. Like, wear what you're going to wear on the road. Like, I understand not being in your uniform because we roll around, do stuff. But I always at least wore my belt every time because I wanted to know exactly what it was going to feel like. Yep. And that way, when I get into a situation, it's going to automatically just be right there with my training. So, same thing as what you were saying about message to the troops. Like, not only take it seriously, but the phrase "practice like you play" is 100% true.
And that's just the psychology of it. And I don't know where you're at with it, but with my incident, I got really into what my brain was doing.
Yes.
In the moment, and what I said this to Warren just I think earlier this morning. Everything they say about life or death situations is true. Audio exclusion, visual constriction, all of these things, time exclusion, all of these things are going to happen. Everything's going to slow down. You're only going to see about this much of your entire picture, and you're not going to hear anything, basically, right? It sounds like you're underwater. Like those scenes, one of the perfect examples that I give people, I'm like, in Saving Private Ryan, at the very end, Tom Hanks is injured, and he's literally shooting a tank with his Colt 45, and then everything slows down, and all he hears is this high-pitched ringing, and you see the explosions. Everything's slow. That is literally what it's like. Like, that's not even a joke. That is exactly what it's like, except for he's seeing everything. It's more just like you're literally getting tunnel vision.
Yep.
But I don't even know where I was going with this.
Of course.
No, listen, I really appreciate you guys talking about this because this is a perspective that I never hear, you know, and so it gives me further insight, or further understanding about what it is that, you know, troopers and, you know, all law enforcement deal with. So.
Well, and that's right. See, you put me back on track, but you're a pro.
You know, I try.
You're a pro.
I try.
But basically, it goes back to your training. Because when you're in that situation, your brain is only concerned with one thing, survival. That is it. And so literally everything else cognitively shuts down. Your computer literally turns off, and there's only one file running, and that's the one that's going to save you. And if you don't have enough information stored up in that file, you're not going to do it. So in other words, all your training gets put into that little file. Okay, I remember this. Oh, I remember this. Take cover. Okay, grab this, do that. Put it out over the radio, whatever. You know what I mean? All these little things that you've trained start to build up your file, and that's the one file you got. So you better make sure it's got the right stuff in it, right? And if you've been joking around at training, that's what you're going to get, is joking around in your file. So
it is amazing. Like, it's amazing. Like, and I'll say the audio exclusion. Nope. I remember everything that was said because the entire time I had my earpiece in, I was criticizing the radio traffic.
that's funny.
In my mind. And it was one of those, you know, things are said and I'm having an internal argument with people that are on scene. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, that's not
like,
what happened.
That's not, no, I'm right. But, like, I remember just hearing people, hey, I'm going. And in my mind, I'm sure everybody said it in their own patrol car, right? You hear people on the radio in an incident, and you're like, just go.
Yeah.
We don't need to.
Yeah.
And I hear it, and in my mind, I'm like, just get here. I don't need to hear it.
Especially now, it only takes 2 buttons to just
Exactly,
silently do it.
And,
That's what drives me nuts.
But in my head, I had that argument going. And it is funny, though, too, because I will say that it does, when you hear that, though, over the radio, you kind of get that calming relief, like, oh, okay, cool. All right.
Yeah.
People are coming.
Cavalry's
All right,
coming.
it's good.
Yes.
It's good. But yeah, no, it's amazing to me as to how easily just little things like you said, put it out over the radio, do all the stuff that you sit there in training and they're like, all right, and now what do you do? And you're like, well, I'd say it over the radio. So show me.
Yeah.
Why? But when it actually happens, you find yourself just doing it. You put stuff out over the, you reach for that radio, you do, you know, it's, and it does, it just kind of comes out. You don't even realize it. So.
Yep. So that's why I always say, I mean, take it seriously. That's all I'm going to say about it. But
Well, yeah, the phrase that I just read it again for recently. You don't rise to the level of the occasion; you fall to the level of your training,
Yes.
and that 100% is
absolutely.
true.
And that's just the physiological and psychological fact. That's just it. You're not fighting that. Everybody has, ironically enough, your fight, flight, or freeze reactions already pre-programmed in you for the most part. But you can train your way out of it. So if it's just natural for you to freeze, you can train that. If that file has enough information about taking action in the moment, most likely you're going to overcome that and you're going to take action. So it's very important. And most people don't know what their initial reaction is going to be.
Right.
Because they've never had that.
I was gonna say, I will say, you know, and I've told other guys, newer guys coming in, I honestly hope, and again, not to be, you know, it wasn't anything crazy for me, but I hope that some people don't have to find out if they need that.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean? Like, because
right.
I now know
Absolutely.
how I'll react, and
Right.
you know, given both of my insight, like I know how I'll react, and it's like, okay, that's kind of cool to know that.
Yeah.
I'll keep going, but yeah. To have never found out and just come to, I would much rather have done that.
Yeah, me too.
You know, I'd rather be able to tell you, yeah, I'll do it, and then never need to find out.
Right.
But,
Right.
but, yeah.
So one question I wanted to ask then, or earlier, just as a follow-up question, you answered it a little bit, but if you go a little more in detail, we are going to have a Northern Patrol Bureau trooper on here, but you've worked both Metro for far longer than your time in Valley. Kind of compare and contrast those experiences. Since it's the same job, but it's not the same job either.
It is the best that I can describe it to, let's say like a ride along or someone who knows nothing about it is I look at rural as highway patrol. I look at being in a metro, you're a city cop. And we do the same stuff. You're right. Like we take our wrecks, we handle ped calls, pedestrian calls, whatever. We handle animals on a highway call. So we deal with that stuff. But in those rural areas, it's you. Like I've told people stories about, you know, my wife went on a ride along, and so I may have only been a year on, but we were on our way home and a fatal kicked out right down on, oh no, I forgot the highway up there. I want to say it was 189, the back way going into Flag from State Route 64, where you had to go right by our house, literally. Like you could take one left and there's the DPS trailers right there, and we're on our way back, and she's like, well, can you just want to drop me off real quick? I'm like, no, you're in this. You're staying overtime. What are you talking about? And so we went to that, but I had to work that fatal by myself. I had to actually call Opcom on my cell phone because my radio wouldn't go out to where it was to say, hey, okay, can you have a unit grab, you know, back then, whatever, it was a React, the earlier one.
Right.
Grab that. I'm going to need this shut down, need that shut down. I landed the helo. You know, my wife was just standing there, you know, and so you learn to do things on your own in that area. And I think that, you know, that part right there is why, as much as I've had, you know, you have a big nasty wreck out here, you're like, okay, all right, shut it down. Like, we'll handle it. My first week down here, I was on like a 3-vehicle something or other on the 51 when we still had the 51 in Central. And like 2 other guys showed up. I was like, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? They're like, what are you talking about? We're going to help clear the highway. I'm like, why? And they're like, because there's 8 of us or whatever it was back then. You know, they're like, because we're here and that's what we do. Like, it was news to me. Didn't know that was a thing. You know, I've told people about the first time I ever came down to Phoenix from up there for training. I got on the highway. I was on the 101, and there was like a desk broken in the middle of the highway. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to turn around for this. And they're like, do you need a traffic break? No. I'm a highway patrol trooper. Like, I got this.
I'll do my own traffic break.
I pulled off to the side of the road. We didn't have traffic breaks up there. It was 2-lane highway. Park your car. No one's going in. You know, And so I literally pulled over, and I went to step out, and just 100 cars. And I'm like, yeah, go ahead and... Yeah, you can send me someone. Thanks,
second
appreciate
thought,
it.
yeah, I'm going to need that.
It's just a different world up there, you know. It's up there. I used to love it. Like, you take a wreck, and then after that, it's go stop stuff. Go look for what you're looking for. If you wanted to do drug interdiction, go do that. If you wanted to just enforce traffic laws, go do that. So it's definitely a different world, that's for sure.
Nice. So our last question is our most fun question, we like to think. The Trooper Tale. Yeah,
I hope you've been thinking about this.
I have, and I don't like that question.
Why?
It's too bad.
Plead the fifth. I don't know.
What funny or embarrassing story? That's something lighthearted. Not meant to humiliate, but...
So, I had the one that a lot of us have, and it's the only one I can come up with, which is why I didn't like it. It was left my gun sitting at the Coconino County Jail.
We've heard it.
Exactly. And I'm like, that really sucks.
You don't have any bathroom stories?
But none that are going to be, no.
I mean, listen.
You're fine.
No, I definitely, that one, no. For as long as I was up there, I never had that one. I was always told, hey, listen, just have yourself your spare toilet paper, which I still have to this day, even though I work Phoenix, because I do a lot of wide loads, so you got to have that. Yep.
You got to have it.
Yep. So I've got that in there. But no, the only thing I've got is we just got into a foot pursuit 2 weeks ago now. Actually, it may have been last week. They roll into each other. But it was me and Heltimus. He was out doing a tan day with a ride along. And
Heltimus.
Yeah. So we get a couple of pedestrians over at the ADOT pump station at 17 and Thomas, right there off the highway.
Yeah.
And so I go over there, and I'm like, well, I'm just going to kick him out. And he gets on the radio. No, have him wait till I get there. We'll go in. Man, all right. So he gets there, and I go, hey, listen, I'm just going to run through tracks. We're just going to kick him loose. We got like 4 dudes on the road. It's a Sunday. Like, It's just we're just going to kick him loose. He's like, oh, okay, yeah. So we go down, we make contact. He goes, hey, I'll run him real quick for you. We'll get him out of there. Okay. So I give him the paper for the one that I ran. I'm standing there talking with him, and I'm asking him, who's got, how'd you guys get in here? How long you been here? And I hear in the radio. Then I hear, I can't even think of what his call sign is now, and I just hear him, yeah, 10-4, that's going to be our guy. Why? Why? So we sit there, he runs them. He comes back up. We're talking about, well, we'll just trespass them, and then that one's 38, that one's fine, okay. And dude just gets up and starts beating feet. And so me and him take off after him. As we go up the first little hill, I see the taser out, and then I see Sergeant Heltimus just boop right on the hill. So I start giggling a little inside. I'm like, good, it wasn't me. I didn't fall. That's awesome. So I go to get my taser out, and I've got a stutter step, and I'm stuttering, and I'm just watching the guy just continue to gain. I'm like, man. So I'm yelling at him.
Got that new taser though.
Yeah. I forgot about that though. I'm thinking I got to get 2 in him at the same time. So I finally get close and I'm yelling at him. You're gonna get tased. Get on the. You're gonna get tased. I'm like, all right. So I put the taser out and I just right into the ground, right in the ground. Yep. Just ate it hard. Yeah. I stepped right on a river rock, fell right down, and I just sat there. And I sat up and all I saw was bottom of feet and butt because he was trying to snake underneath the fence. So I just pop, hit him with got him with the taser. Got him. He gave up.
The guy dropped 2 troopers.
Yep. Dropped one of us twice though too because I had to go back and write a report, and it turns out somebody that was next to me fell a second time. So, so it made me a little happier.
Well, you didn't have to name names, but I'm glad you did.
But yeah, no, it was. Yeah. But other than that, yeah, I don't. You know.
Yeah, I had
it's
trouble
hard
with
to
that
come up
question
with that.
myself.
I gave left my gun in the car kind of thing. Yeah.
I can't. That's the only one.
Very common in law enforcement.
Yeah, which is surprising because I heard stories and I'm like, how? It's like
it's
like the first thing they tell you, don't ever lose anything,
Yes.
and then I left it and I'm like, oh, crap.
Literally,
Gotta drive 20 miles
every
back.
academy class throughout history has been reamed up and down.
Yeah.
Don't leave your gun in the locker.
You get the wooden gun.
And everybody has done it.
Yep. Oh yeah.
You can't stop it. It's just what it is.
Yeah, but you did it down here though, right?
I did do it down here.
Yes.
I did not with DPS. At
Right.
least.
Yeah. See, I had to. I dropped it or I left it Coconino, and then I made it almost back to Williams.
No.
Yeah, and it was literally
See, that's terrible.
It was, and the only reason I caught it was because I was going to a call, and luckily it was like the Wednesday, so there happened to be somebody else on. But I was running code, and halfway through, my lights and everything turned off, and I was like, "Well, that's not right. This is DPS equipment. It always works." And I'm like, "I can't get my lights to go, like nothing." So luckily somebody else was there. Wasn't anything big, so I get out, and I'm like, "What in the world?" And I put my hands like this, and I'm like,
That's what's wrong.
Man. So yeah, real quick, I stayed on the call, real quick. You're like, hey, I just got to go back to the jail real quick. Hang on. Just shot back over
Code
there.
for everybody knows what you're talking about.
Oh, man. Yep. Ever since then, no, I will check, double check, triple check. But
It takes once. You have to do it once.
Yep.
So.
Well, Sean, thank you for being here today.
seriously.
Thanks for having me.
We wanted, as much as we love talking to the guys in the specialty units, we thought it was even more important to talk to somebody like yourself who has been on the road for a long time, and that's where you want to be, and that's fantastic. And we certainly don't want anybody on the road to think that this podcast is only about the specialty guys. This is about everybody in the agency, and it's important to hear your guys' stories just as much as it is anybody else in this agency. So.
not yours.
Yeah, not Harris's, no.
Nobody cares, actually.
But thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your time with us. We appreciate it. To all of our listeners and viewers, thanks for joining us today. We'll see you on the next episode.